It's only been legal to make a bet in Nevada until now. With Atlantic City struggling, New Jersey sued and won in the Supreme Court, which tossed out PASPA, the 1992 Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. It's textbook 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved for the states, respectively, or to the people. So if and how you bet depends on which state you live in. As for when, let's ask Will Green, Senior Director of Research for the American Gaming Association, representing the $240 billion USA casino industry, which supports 1.7 million jobs in 40 states. Will, welcome to The Big Picture.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Most states have budget problems, so they're drooling over the tax revenue this can bring.
Right.
My state, Rhode Island, already budgeted the revenue ahead of the court decision in the out years.
Right.
How quickly do your non-Nevada members expect to be up and running, and what kind of do-re-mi should the states expect?
Well, it's a great question. We love states and tribal sovereign nations being proactive on this issue, to have that foresight to say before the court ruled, we're anticipating a ruling this way, we're going to be aggressive. That's great. At the same time, though, we really want to urge a lot of states, a lot of tribal jurisdictions, listen, this is not necessarily a cash cow. It is very easy to say, oh, well, look at this enormous new revenue stream. It's not necessarily that way. Markets take time to mature. For a lot of states, this will be a new form of legal gaming. Rhode Island, among the many states that are looking to move quickly on this. So we would stress that. I think in terms of when states are getting ready to move, that's a very state-by-state answer right now. Certain states, such as Delaware, for example, a state similar to Rhode Island and how its sort of commercial gaming is constructed, they're one of the first, I think, that will move. They're a state that has come out recently and said, you know, our prior laws on the books already allow for this. We're good to go. New Jersey, obviously, as they were a party in the case, they will look to move quickly. I think other states like Connecticut, potentially, if there's a special session later this year, which there could be, could move quickly, as well as New York and, you know, Rhode Island as well. Pennsylvania has already legalized. They did so last year with a bill that said if the ruling, you know, if the federal law is struck down, we talked about being proactive.
Right.
They ruled that, you know, if the law is struck down, sports betting will become legal pending, you know, the governing of regulations and the promulgation of those regs, which they have not done yet. West Virginia did the same thing earlier this year. Mississippi did the same thing last year. So we expect all of those sort of aforementioned states, I kind of call them the first half dozen, maybe the first 8, in what exact order, who's to say, you know, at this stage. But those are some of the first movers that we've seen be aggressive on this and that, you know, want to generate revenues, whatever the size they are.
I suspect what's not pacing this is the plumbing itself, the infrastructure, the hardware, the software. The vendors must be ready to roll, huh?
A lot of people are ready to do a lot of things. A lot of people have been itching for this moment, I think, for a long time. A lot of technology suppliers, risk management suppliers, casino operators, foreign operators, third-party sportsbook vendors. All of these folks have been sort of circling the airspace for a long time, and I think this has now become the reality that a lot of them hoped it would be, but it kind of, once it's real, then it's real.
Might just be an app they tack onto the state lottery plumbing in some cases, right?
You know, in some states like Rhode Island, for example, I believe, don't quote me on that, but West Virginia as well, the lottery will play a key role in how, you know, sports wagering is or is not offered. For example, in West Virginia, casinos there would act as agents of the state lottery.
Right.
So there's different juxtapositioning with state lotteries, again, on a state-to-state basis. And, you know, something we've heard recently from the pro sports leagues and you know, from the NCAA is that, you know, we need some sort of federal solution, and I think that's wildly inaccurate for many reasons, but putting those reasons aside, I can't stress enough that this is we're already seeing, we're like 4 days into this, we're already seeing major differences from state to state in terms of how this will be carried out.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Right.
That is okay.
Do your own thing.
Do your own thing, because states have already been doing this with commercial gaming and tribal gaming for many, many, many years.
Now, in terms of what's already being done, your outfit estimated that some 97% of the $15 billion wagered on Super Bowl 51 plus March Madness was bet illegally. So we know this money exists. We know it's out there.
Yes.
Is there any concern among your members, the casino operators, that this betting might cannibalize the table games and the slots or any of that?
Absolutely not. I mean, sports betting, what it does is, while it is not necessarily a revenue cash cow, it's about 2 to 3% of revenue in Nevada.
Gotcha.
So if you take all of Nevada's overall gaming revenues, it's less than 3%, to put that in perspective. But what it does do is it provides a nice amenity for gaming properties, right? It might bring people in, and then they go to a restaurant.
Sure, right.
They might spend money at a shop.
Right.
They might play a slot machine.
Right.
So, you know, I think that's really what this does for our industry. I think the real victory here is that, you know, Americans are not going to be criminalized anymore for betting $10 on a game. Would they ever be prosecuted for that crime? Probably not.
But the money's
No.
coming into the daylight and out of the shadows.
Yes, yes.